Could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, I'm Brian Martel. I'm one of the co-founders and the Chief Creative Officer of Gearbox Software.
We've just seen the presentation, it really looks awesome.
Yeah, Aliens Colonial Marines is going to be amazing. We're loving it. It's a great franchise to work on.
The game is playing after the third movie. How does the game expand on the story of the movie, and how difficult is it to stay true to the look and feel of the Alien movies without being too much limited in your creativity?
Yeah, well, for us, it's sort of the sequel that we've always wanted to see. We've always wanted to see something where you're able to see more of the Colonial Marines. I think people really loved and just absolutely adored those characters. Obviously it's in every sort of sci-fi game ever since the movies came out, right? So for us, that was really cool to be able to play around in this universe. Yeah, it takes place after the third movie, and it is a spiritual successor or sequel to Aliens. But what it does is we borrow a little bit from Alien 3, but just happens to be the events after that. And then we're going back to LV-426 to find out a little bit about what happened to those Colonial Marines, be able to investigate the colony, find out more about the derelict ship, spend time with Sulaco, all those kind of things.
Do you have any input by the old film crew, maybe the actors or the Ridley Scott, etc.?
No, we really don't. But what we do have is we have like Fox really, helping us to make sure that it's the way it should be. We do have Sid Mead, who was one of the core concept designers, invented the whole future, Blade Runner, and all that stuff. Well, he was able to dig back into what he had as far as in the archives and fill in the gaps that we may have had for like the Slock or whatever. Plus, in addition to that, we hired him to go ahead and draw new things that had not ever been seen or new parts of the ship that were really necessary for gameplay.
Nintendo oftentimes said that they were very much inspired by the Alien movies when they did the first Metroid. Is there anything you can be inspired by Metroid when you're doing the new Alien game?
Well, there's lots of things that Metroid would bring to the table, but they don't entirely apply to this game, But as far as puzzle solving and things like that would be awesome, investigation. But no, I don't think it's really a backwards kind of thing for that. We're more inspired by the movies, really.
Alien's also coming out to Wii U next year. Anything you can tell us how you will use the tablet controller? I mean, the enemy radar is very obvious. Is there anything else you have in your mind already?
Yeah, we've been brainstorming a lot about those kind of ideas, and a lot of people have given us their desires for what they'd love to see on the tablet. For example, the sentry turret, being able to keep track of the counter, or maybe looking through the camera that's on the sentry turret, or maybe looking at cameras that are around, whether it's on the ship or whether it's on the location, welding, a whole number of other things. The punch, going into breaking in and things like that, and dealing with the wires and switching them up and all that stuff.
Do you have already the final dev kits, or is that still up in the air?
That's still up in the air. We're still supposed to be getting those. I haven't talked to that team that's been working on those kind of things before I left, but hopefully we should be getting that stuff soon.
Do you think that Wii U is more a transitional platform until the next Xbox and PlayStation comes out? And why do you think that many people still define it in next generation just by looking at the graphics and not by how you play the game?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? How that really works. I think for a lot of people, because it's the Wii, because it's not what has been part of the hardcore sort of gaming platforms, traditional platforms, I think that's why people have been maybe referring to this as sort of the transitional platform. But we can see that obviously they're very influenced by the idea of using dual sticks and having triggers and all those kind of things. They want to gather a new type of audience, obviously. And I think that frankly, a lot of the memory on there allows us to have a fidelity that we haven't seen in this particular generation. And then I think what we get out of having the elements that are on the screen really create something new. The thing is, the reason why people are calling it transitional is because we have no idea what the next 720 box is going to be, or whatever the PS4 is going to be. We have no idea. So it's hard to gauge, well, is that going to be a Moore's Law type of problem where there's going to be lots and lots of graphics? Obviously, that they have their own interaction, which we can just all interactive kind of ways of dealing with it. So we can all assume that they're going to be doing the same kind of things. So at this point, the reason why you call it a transitional system is because it happens to come in between, because it's now the first system they have going into HD. And so what does the future bring? Who knows, right?
So in a few words, why should Alien fans absolutely buy this game?
Well, simply, it is a sequel they've always wanted. And so this time you get to be in the boots of these soldiers, you get to use that hardware, you get to do it through a whole game. You're not piecing it out and doing 3 good games in one whole game. Instead, you have one full game of nothing but the Alien Colonial Marines. So if you love the Colonial Marines, if you love the Aliens franchise, this game is for you.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.